Welcome home, Haitians. Woo-hoo! Yeah. So I think the kids are staying because we're going to all hear the testimonies together. So why don't we bring up the Haitian team and, yeah, let's hear it for the missions team. Yeah. Woo-hoo! Give it up.
Good morning. While they're getting set up, hopefully they're not too distracting. I just want to give a little introduction because we want to share, and there's a lot to share. So I just want to kind of share with you guys how we ended up in Haiti this year and kind of what our goals were. So this was the third time that Cornerstone Church has been to Haiti. In 2012 was our first Haiti mission, and we worked with Faith Orphanage. So we went through Foursquare Missions International, and Steve Cecil and Steve Holm led that trip. Steve Cecil had been working with the orphanage in Jacmel for about 12 years before we went on this trip. One of the people who went to the journey in Madison was in YWAM and had visited this orphanage, really got a heart for these kids, and then the journey in Madison started this program called Beautiful Child, and it was a sponsorship program for the kids in Faith Orphanage. And Faith Orphanage was the director of Faith Orphanage is Pastor Milian, and Pastor Milian had a brother-in-law. His name is Harold Marcellus, and Harold is the pastor that we've been going to work with in Haiti. So that's kind of where the connection came from. Harold shared his heart with us for Lolo while we were there this time, and it was really cool because about 3 years ago, Harold felt called into the ministry, and he felt called to the specific village, Lolo. It's up in the mountains about 15 miles from Jacmel. It's a farming community, so there's a lot of parallels between kind of what they're doing and here. But it's a farming community. Hadn't been a lot of people up in that area talking about Jesus. And so Harold was called to that community, and he went every Tuesday and Thursday just to evangelize and to pray with the people. And after about a year, there were enough people that were converted that they started asking, Harold, you've been coming, we really like it. There's nowhere for us to go to church. Can you come and do a Sunday service here? And so Harold started doing a Sunday service up there. And he really didn't consider himself a pastor, and he told us because he thought that in order to be a pastor, you either had to be rich or you had to have a lot of people who were rich in your congregation so that they could physically bless people. And he said that God totally changed that in him. He said that God made it very clear that he was being called to those who couldn't give anything back, those who he couldn't give to. So it was an issue in his heart as well. He wanted to be able to bless the people, but God told him what they need is love. What they need is you to give yourself and pour yourself out to them. And so I thought that was really cool. But they've been doing a church in Lolo for about 2 years now. And when we went the first time to Haiti, we went to the orphanage, and we learned that the majority of the kids in the orphanage weren't really orphans. It was just that their families couldn't take care of them. And so we shifted our focus from supporting the orphanage to really wanting to support families. Because that's the way we could not only make a difference, but we could keep the kids from having to go to the orphanage, and we could restore families. And so as the things progressed, really working with Harold and Lolo, actually a lot of the kids from Faith Orphanage were from Lolo and have now been returned to their families there, which is an awesome testimony. But we really decided to work with Lolo because there we have the opportunity to influence an entire village, and by influencing that village, they can influence all of Haiti. And so this time, when we went down, last year we ministered mainly to the children. This was the first year that we ministered to children, we ministered to women, and we ministered to men in the village, which was a really big blessing for us. We were invited into people's homes, which has not happened before. It was really good. And so our goals this time were all about relationship and all about love. How do we build relationship with these people so that we can equip them and empower them to change their community and then to change the entire nation of Haiti? And so during one of our team meetings, we had team meetings every night. One of the team meetings, Mary Piper asked a question. She said, what does it look like when you love with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your mind? And that really is something I think that you're going to kind of hear throughout the testimonies that our team is going to share, because this trip was really all about relationships and all about love, and that's really cool. So this year we had a team of 14, 13 up here that actually went to Haiti, and then Todd Knapp in the back there. Everyone say hi to Todd. I already called him out last time, but he wasn't up here to hear it, so I'm going to call him out again. Todd has been awesome, helping to plan for this trip, helping to prepare us to go, spending, I think one night we were working on things from like 5 in the afternoon till like after 1 o'clock, just working on the details for this trip. And Todd's been there every step of the way. You know, while we're down there, Todd is praying and he's sending us text messages on our international phone all the time. Hey, how's things going? I need pictures. Give me pictures. Send me pictures. So thank you, Todd, for your hard work and for being the 14th member of our team. And so there's 13 of us up here, and we're going to, I'm just going to have each one share. We're going to try to keep it to about 2 minutes each. Share their insights from this trip. And as they share, I encourage you guys just to be in prayer and just to be really listening to their hearts. I do believe that God is forming a very special bond between this church body and between the church body in Lolo. And I believe that there are those of you who are sitting in this audience who will be going on a trip to Haiti. And there's a lot of things that are coming up, a lot of things that we have in our vision on how to equip these people. And it's not just people going, although that's very important. You know, one of the things Errol said, we've struggled a little bit sometimes with, is it better to just send money or is it better to go, to use that money to send people? And Errol made a comment. He said, it's important that people come and that they see, because when you see things, it gets in your heart. It gets deep down in you. And it's something that doesn't leave you as quickly as if I just gave money to this mission. And so we really want people to get involved. And there may be people who can't travel, but we're going to be looking at a well and things like that. And so we're going to be asking people to step up and to step into helping and to joining with us. So as you hear these people and their hearts and what they experience, I just ask that you guys would be in prayer as well, as if there's something that God wants you to do in regards to Haiti, and just know that you will be blessed. So we're going to start with Lindsay.
Well, I'll probably let these guys talk most about Haiti. I never really know what I'm going to say till I get here, but I just want to brag on the team a little bit. I mean, they did an amazing job. I mean, like these young guys right here, like they stepped up to the plate. Yeah, this one. He's a jokester. They called him Billy's son because he's Billy's son, and just like him. But, I mean, when it was time to pray, like, he stepped up. Like, he gave it his all, and he was powerful. And him and Wandy both preached on Sunday and got the translator translating it to the congregation. It was really an amazing thing. I mean, I didn't know how this team was going to come together. I was disappointed, to say in the least, at the beginning just because of who wasn't going. I mean, the team members that we had in the past, I really was looking forward to going again, and Todd not going and Billy not going. But, you know, God knows way better than we do what's going on. And this team was exactly who was supposed to go. I mean, every single person had a plan and a purpose and touched exactly the lives that they needed to touch. And it was just, I mean, amazing to get to know them and to just fall in love with my team. I mean, I didn't know hardly any of them. I mean, Alice I had gone on a trip with before, but I really didn't know anyone personally. And it was just an amazing time to get to know them and to really have your team back you and have love cover everything. We didn't need to know each other as well as we thought we might. But, I mean, it was just awesome, and God really used every single person to the best of any of our abilities.
All right, so I've got 2 minutes, so got really liked when I went to Haiti, and I really liked it, and it was really fun. No, it was the most amazing trip of my life. When we got the word that we were a family, I didn't know that it would be this close. Everybody in this group I love so much. Like, oh, I want to go back to Haiti just so I can be with them longer. Let's go back. Let's stay a little longer. Let's accidentally miss the flight. But it's so crazy in Haiti. Everything it's like a different world. Like everything, physically, spiritually, everything's on the surface. If you're a Christian, you're a Christian. Like, you are strong in God. And that really spoke to me about who we need to be here. It's not, you don't need to be different just because of your commodities or what you have. And we're all in this, we're all the same. And like their love and just their trust, it was amazing. And it really showed me how I need to grow in my life with my love and my trust. And yeah, it was amazing. Oh, I can't even talk. It was so awesome. Yeah.
Love you too. Well, since I got back, everyone's asking me how was the trip, and I'm just like, I don't know how to put that in a sentence. Because every time I try to explain it to people, it took me like an hour or two. And yeah. Well, the thing that impacted me most on the trip actually literally impacted me. I fell in a hole. It was like, oh gosh. We were at a restaurant and coming out to go in the tap. It's like a big truck kind of thing, and you ride in the back of it. So I was walking out to the tap, and like there's this side of the road, and then there's this kind of like instant drop of like 2 or 3 feet, kind of like a trench kind of thing. And I was trying to be careful, but you know me, I'm a klutz, and I fell in there. So literally, it was like scream thud. As soon as I was trying to get up, there was instantly a guy there. He was obviously Haitian and talking to me in Creole, so I didn't understand a lot of what he was saying. But he helped me up, and once I was up there, he absolutely had to make sure that I was okay. Like, he would not leave me alone. I was like, I'm fine, okay? Like, he really had to be sure that I was okay, and he was so concerned for my well-being that it really hit me how much the people in Haiti really care about each other, and just people are so open and loving. And I thought about like going back to America. That's going to drive me nuts, and it does. That everyone, like a lot of people in America are so shut off. Like anywhere you go, people are sitting around on their phones or ignoring everyone around them, and people don't talk to each other. And I think that's just what I got out of it. I learned to talk to people.
Well, my heart is beating really fast right now, so you guys need to work with me. But the biggest thing that impacted me was the love. Just going in there and seeing that the stuff that they don't have and the love that they can give. When people said, "What is God's love?" I was like, what? Like, we throw around the word love like, oh, I love chicken nuggets, or, you know. But when I was down there, I seen what love really was. And when you say, you know, God is love, that's what it was. And you all need to just go down there and see what love is. And that's about it.
My name's Nicole Nearing. This is my second trip. I went with the first time, and we went to the orphanage, and we loved on the kids a lot, and we just sat around and built relationships with them. And this trip was a lot different because I actually had to share a whole gospel and a word and a message, and it really impacted my life to just, you know, do that on my own and be strong about that, because I'm not very I don't like to preach a lot, so I'm not very comfortable with it. But the thing that impacted me the most was our house-to-house prayer. We would go around the village and with our interpreter or translator, and we would go to the adults and we would ask them if they accepted Jesus, if they're a Christian, or what they needed prayer for. And the translator would say what they needed prayer for, and it was our responsibility to pray for that need, or to lead them to Christ if they wanted that. And I was never very comfortable with leading them to Christ, so Deb always did that part for me, but I need to grow strong in the faith before I feel comfortable with doing that. But it was very, very powerful to lay our hands on these Haitian people that were so accepting of our love, because if we would ask to pray for someone randomly that we didn't know, they would be very shut off by it. So that was one thing that really, really touched me, and for them to know that someone else has faith for them, and it's not just they're not alone, it's very, very, very powerful. And I wanted to cry every time someone said their heart hurt or they needed money or just, I don't know. And then we also went to the hospital and prayed for our team, or my group. We prayed for the pregnant women that were about to have C-sections, or they just had their babies. So it was really cool to pray for their newborns and to see just how much they just wanted help from us, really. And one other thing was, when I was down in Haiti, my grandpa passed away. He had leukemia, and I knew before I was going on the trip that he was going to pass away before or after, because he was just so sick, and I knew Jesus was going to do something with Haiti and with my grandpa in my life. I only knew him for a year and a half, and I just got nothing but love from him the first day I met him. So I found out he was in a coma, and then 3 hours later we got back to the hotel, and I finally got to talk to some family and see what was up, and I asked if I could talk to his ear. I told my aunt, I was like, will you put the phone up to his ear so at least I can say my goodbyes? And so they put the phone up to his ear. I prayed for him. I prayed everything, I could to lift his soul up. And it turns out I went back to my room, took a shower, was relaxing because I was so worked up. Came back, and my team was all sitting in a circle together, and I had on my heart that I wanted them to pray for my grandpa and for my family and for me. So I come out, and everybody was so strong, full of love, and I sat in the middle of the circle, and they all just started praying for me and my family. And it was very, Wandy started speaking in Spanish, and he was praying, and everybody could feel the power of his prayer. And I had to stop crying because I could just listen to the strength and the power of that prayer. And then I went back to my room. Everyone went to bed, and as soon as I went to lay down, it was about 11:15 or so, and our region is an hour earlier, so it would have been 10:16 here, and it turned out my grandpa passed away at 10:16 at night. So I feel like as soon as I was laying my head down, my grandpa's soul and my soul were bonding together, and his heart was laid to rest after I had talked to him. We had prayed for him, and he had the knowledge that I was okay with him to go. I got to say my goodbyes. My team led me to have strength, and so now that I'm here, I'm totally okay, and I know that he's in peace.
And I just want to thank all of you for sending us, because all your prayers, I just really appreciate that. I appreciate my wonderful husband for letting me go. I just really appreciate that. And I guess what struck me was that the Christians there are sold out. There's no sitting on the fence. There's different, in the house prayer, we prayed for this one lady who had 2 children with a voodoo priest. And then she became a Christian, and she goes to the church there in Lolo. Well, the persecution, this woman, she wanted to pray persecution and for the protection of her daughter. One of the children, since she became a Christian, has died. You know, they realize the evil behind all this. And sometimes I think we in America are kind of blinded to that. So, I mean, they're really sold out, and they are so loving, and they have such joy. That song, "The Joy of the Lord is Their Strength," that we saw that. And they're just wonderful people. And the pastor and his wife and their sisters, that, you know, they invited us into their home. They honored us. They gave us cake and ice cream, and that's premium in Haiti. And, you know, they didn't have much at all, but what they had, they gave to us. And it was wonderful. And I want to challenge all of you. A quarter in America buys basically nothing. In Haiti, it buys a lot. So I just challenge every family, especially ones with little kids, to get a jar, put a picture of a cute little Asian on it, and when you have quarters, put it in there. And so they can have a well, and they can have a preschool, and because these kids can't walk clear to town, the little ones, is too far, and they need the preschool so that when they're older and can go to school, they're not way behind. They need, an education is, I can see that really helping. So I just challenge you, save your quarters that aren't worth much here and put them in a jar for Haiti.
Well, I was really hesitant about going, and I don't remember when I said I'd go. What? But anyway, I'm really glad I did go, and I'm the quiet one of the bunch here. But, you know, I was going to go for the construction of it because I wanted to work with the people there. But it was really the kids that really struck me. And
They loved him, and they loved this white hair in his arms.
And his strong legs.
yeah, but anyway, you know, the kids really, you know, they really loved being held and everything. But anyway, I really admire this team because of how they, you know, express the Bible, how they share their life experiences with people, and I really respect you guys. And I really benefited from the trip.
Yeah, there was a lot of growth with all of us. I mean, there was so many things. God just showed up, and he just blasted all of us, let me tell you. On Sunday, we were to go to church, and so I was talking to someone who had been there before, and I said, so we're going to church. Yeah. So is interpreters going to be there? Are we going to know what they're saying? I mean, I was really kind of apprehensive, thinking, okay, we're going to go to church for 3 hours, and we're going to hear all these people speaking in Creole, and I'm not going to know what's going on. And so it's kind of funny, because I was kind of talking to Christy. I was like, Christy, what is this about, and she's like, well, Deb, you don't always have to know what they say. And I said, and we kind of go, oh, yeah, kind of like speaking in tongues. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so it was just amazing. We went to church, and you didn't have to know what they were saying because the Spirit just spoke to us. I mean, it was everywhere there. And you just felt it in your heart, you felt it in your spirit, and you just worshiped and praised right along with them. And you didn't need to have words because you just knew. And God is so strong there. I mean, he is everywhere. And it was truly amazing. And I saw so many of our team. I was so proud of Mars. She was in our group when we were going house to house to pray. And she just was very, I don't know what to say. And I know Mars, she's very connected to the Lord, and her spirit is very strong. And we were in one of the last, I think it was the last home, wasn't it, Mars, that we were in? And and I said, okay, Mars, you ready? And she said, I don't know what to say. And I said, Mars, put your hand on her. And she's like, okay. And I says, put your other hand on her. She says, I have my hand on her. I said, no, put both your hands on her. So she put both her hands on her. I said, now close your eyes and listen to the Lord. What is the Lord telling you to say? I said, you're connected. The Lord knows what he wants you to say. And she just had a great word for this woman. And this woman wouldn't tell us what her problems were because she didn't want to share them, I guess. And then Mars, said some things, and then, some others prayed a little bit with her, and then Mars says, I have something else. And she said, I want you to know that you're never too needy, that you're never too needy for God, and that God loves you, and that you can tell him all of your problems, because she wouldn't tell them to us. And yeah, it was amazing. She just to see, and Nikki as well. I mean, she just, each time we'd go to a home, she would just, she would just pray more and more, and it just became so much more comfortable for her. And yeah, everybody just blasted their faith, just full strength ahead. So it was wonderful.
I'm going to try not to cry. Okay, I will. But I just wanted to thank you guys, family and friends and congregation, for helping us go. I'm a changed woman. Thanks. Okay. So one of the things that was most prominent when I was there, I didn't really realize it until probably the middle to end of the trip, was the amount of peace within me.
She got whacked.
Yeah, I did. And so it was beautiful. Like, just in the chaos of it all, we were in Haiti, we were experiencing everything. We were in the middle of the market, we were in the tap, trying not to hit people while they're walking by. That stuff, that scares me. And I wasn't scared. It was like, I was in it, and there was peace, and it was just a waterfall. It was beautiful. But I wanted to thank my team. I love you all. My family. I love each and one of you. Yeah, it was beautiful. I don't know what else to say. There's so much. I don't know.
I'm stealing it.
I just want to say something about Christy just while it's fresh in my mind. She was with me and Lisa doing the women's ministry, and there was one day we were talking about marriage, and she was just kind of giving her, we were talking about who or what qualities you look for in a man, and what qualities you need to find in a husband. And so she had this beautiful thing written out about Josh, and it was just like unbelievable. Like, we learned so much love from them, but like what the love that Christy has in her heart already is astonishing. And she got to teach these women who, a lot of them are single moms, a lot of them, don't have marriage in their future, or they're not looking for that. But she just got to share with them the qualities that she loves about Josh, and the qualities about him that won her over. And she's starting to tear up and to cry just because of how much love she has for him. And it was so beautiful to see. And to know that exists, like that love exists in marriage still, and in that they could see that too. And so as she's starting to cry, I'm like, Christy, it's okay to cry, and so then I'm like starting to tear up, and then Lisa's starting to tear up, and then our translator Fabienne, she's like, now I'm starting to cry, and she's like, and I don't even know him. And it was so beautiful, and I'm just so proud of them and how they love each other.
So down there in Haiti on the taps, so in the U.S. they have all the Jesus like in this world in this tiny little print up there. It's so the print on the windshield is so big that you can't even see through the windshield.
Yeah.
Another thing is that when they're having struggle with their baby, they hand their babies to us so then they can hold, so then we can hold them. That is really can't really explain how the world is down there, and just really strong all the time. But this is another from learning each and everybody. I didn't know Wandy that well, but I learned down there that Wandy is a trickster. That's it.
I love this, guys. Starting is like, I don't even know how I got to Haiti. I mean, I don't want to even go there. We're going to have to explain how, because I wasn't even expecting and thinking about that, so that wasn't in my mind. But the plan that God has for us, the first thing is, the wasn't just us, was you. Each one of you were there. And I'm not talking, you were there with us. I mean, we only, the people that provide the money for us, I mean, the help for us to go, they were there too. And all the change and all the blessing and all the touch that the people receive from us and that we receive from them is from you. And everything that we receive from them is for you too. So it's not only for us. And the two things that impact me, or three or four, I don't know, depends how, is when we went to the hospital, we were praying for people, and I mean, and I know the hospital like that and whatever, but when we moved to the second building, the group where we were, God connected me with one guy that speaks Spanish. I don't know. I was talking in the Aaron was there translating, and he was in the other side. He speaking Spanish to me. Do you speak Spanish and whatever? I said, yeah. So I keep talking with the people here, with the guys that we were. We keep talking and praying for the guys that were here. So I was anxious. I mean, someone speaks Spanish. I need to finish and come here too. So when we finished with that, I started to talk with him, and I talk about Jesus and explain. He had an accident in my country 4 years ago, and in the vehicle that they were going, all the other guys, Dominican, died. I mean, terrible. And the only one that was alive was him. He have some metal that they put in the leg. You know, they took that last week from his leg, and he told me that he have a lot of pain and whatever. And I started to, the guys and brethren was there too. We started to preach about Jesus and talk about Jesus and invited to come to the Jesus family, to our family. See? So I told him, do you want to be part of our family? I mean, you want to belong to my own father? I mean, they're not different. If you come to my family, they're not different. We can be brother. We can have fun. Maybe next time when we come, we can play and talk and whatever. I mean, we are the same family, you know. So I started invited him, and I asked him. I asked him one point him, do you know you have Christian family, no? And he told me I have three siblings. They are Christian. I said, do you know that they are crying day by day for you to become Christian? That guy started like, and in meditating in what I was talking about. So in the end, he became Christian. So we pray for him. He became Christian. The only problem is his brother was there. He don't speak Spanish, but the time was going over. It started with his brother too. But we have to go. I said, I need to come back for you. So we left and everything was fine. So the next time, the last day that we went to Lolo, we started, the guys, we were playing soccer with them and for a little bit with the young guys. So that was the point, try to get all the guys together playing, people start to come and the young guy. So we stopped and we talked with all the young guys and said, can we talk for a few minutes with you? So yeah, it's fine. We went and sit in one place. Will, Vredan, and Stephanie and I, we were talking with them and talking about Jesus and whatever. In the group, I think the only 4 were Christian So the other maybe 10, 15 wasn't Christian. So we will start to talk, like not about religion, about Jesus and how, the same thing, invitation in the same family, having fun together and whatever, Jesus, and explaining what Jesus did for us and the, et cetera, et cetera. And I invited them to, I mean we invited them to the people that want to be Christian, and many of them raised their hand, but I shouldn't ask, but so we pray, and the guy that wasn't Christian, they pray for receiving Jesus. That doesn't mean, so they receive Jesus. That doesn't mean that, I don't know they have, but at least the point is that many of them became Christian and saved. Besides that, we went to take blessing, like physical blessing, and praying for people, but people were saved there. That is the point. The money that you gave and the blessing that you gave us to send us there, that transformed life. And God sent us just for that. Even if the only person in the hospital became Christian, God sent us just for that person. And that is a blessing. That is, it is what it is. It's amazing. I never feel interested to go to Haiti, being in my country, not for nothing, not just, nah. And God opened the door from here, from U.S. to go to Haiti, and now I don't know what that means, but it's like, I hope to go every year. That is my prayer. Really. My prayer is, God bless. I don't have money, but you bless, and I'm there. I put my body. You only bring the money.
Hi, everyone. So when Alice first asked me if I wanted to go to Haiti, I was like, I'll think about it, but I wasn't really committed. And then when everything came up and the initial money I was like, all right, I'm going to go. But my mindset was I was going to go and be able to check it off my bucket list of things to do, and then be able to go on with my life. Hey, I went to Haiti, did a missions trip, check, and then move on. That was my plan. So then I couldn't make any of the meetings, so I was doing the go-to meetings, and then the final last meeting I came, and I really didn't know the team at all. And so Alice is like, well, which ministry are you going to be in? Probably about a week before I came in, and I love babies. Me and Alice are related. She loves babies, so we love babies. I love babies, and I was like, I really want to be with the kids ministry. But God was like, I want you to be with the women. And I was like, God, I love babies really well. And he's like, I want you to be with the women. And I was like, I don't know how to relate to them, and I'm not sure I'll be able to even communicate with them. I don't want to. Well, unfortunately, I told Alice what God said, so she's like, great. You, Lindsay, and Christy are going to be with the women. And I was like, man, I should have kept that to myself. So then we get there that Saturday, and we get together, and we're like, well, what are we even going to talk about? And, Lindsay raises, we don't even know what these women culturally are facing. And I'm like, see, God, this is why I didn't want to do this. This is difficult. And we got together, and how we worked together was just amazing. We came up with like 3 topics that we want to talk about. We want to talk about identity, we wanted to talk about marriage, and we want to talk about dreams and visions. And so we were like, all right, great, we have a plan, and that was it. We were going to get together, and then on our flight down, we were going to work out the kinks and all of that. But even in that, Lindsay and I being left behind, there was one point where I made Lindsay play, what was it, probably about 40 questions and answers. I randomly found all these questions in my bag. I was like, let's get to know each other. And so I'm just asking all these random questions and making her play this game with me. But we were like able to meld so well that when we got there, like we just flowed so well. Like it was definitely God talking to those women for that women ministry. And so we went and we spoke with them, and we prayed for some of them. And one day we got back, and one of the ladies actually approached me, and she said, I just want to let you know that I'm a very private person, but you came to me last night in a dream, and you told me that you have much love for me and much love for Haiti, and so I trust you. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do you do with this? And so she was telling the translator, and the translator and her were like talking and looking at me, and I'm like, what's going on? Like confused. And then she tells me, and I'm like, that's really crazy. And then later that night, we were soaking, and I had been, ever since we got to Haiti, I've just been having dreams about Haiti, like full-on dreams about Haiti and in the future. And in my dream, I was in Lolo in the future, and I was like, wouldn't that be like God? Like, I'm dreaming about Lolo in the future, and maybe we actually meet in our dreams. Like, God can do awesome, amazing things. And so I was like, wow, that he would do that and just allow her to open up. She says, I don't open up to anyone. She's like, nobody knows these issues that I'm facing, but I trust you, and I want you to pray for me on these. And so again, just their openness, and they're willing to trust you. They trust you with the stories of their life. They trust you with their kids. They trusted us with their vehicles. They allowed many of us to learn how to drive the tap-tap or learn how to drive the moto. And these are things like in the U.S., okay, we get in an accident, our insurance covers it. Like, we get in an accident, we're stranded. They have no form of doing their business. And they're like, yeah, come on, come do this. Like, just completely trusting and open with all their possessions. And it just showed, like, how guarded and how even in our generosity we can be selfish and hold on to things because of the value we place on them. Like, they don't place that value on it. Like, so let me think. Oh, yeah, one more thing. So then with the women, I love kids. And so I was like, God, I really want to have a chance to, play with the babies. And there was opportune time. I fell in love with this one little boy, but he has a father and a mother who love him very much. So I thank God for that, but I still wanted him very badly. But we got to go to the hospital. We got to pray for the babies there, and that was actually very impacting. It really touched me. Again, these women that are just open with the problems that their children are facing, and they're here. There was one woman in particular who, she had 2 children with her. Neither of them were hers biologically. One of them, the baby's mother, had died, and the other one just left him. And so there, you have to pay to give the kids care, to give them medicine. So she is taking care of these children that are not hers. She's like toiling over them, paying for their medicine. And again, you don't have much, but you're doing this for these kids. Here, I was like, my mindset would probably be like, I can barely take care of myself. I'm sorry. Like, I really want help. I can't. But like, that's not her mindset. She's like, I can't take care of myself, but I'm going to make a way. And these babies are going to get what they need. Like, I'm here. And, it was just, again, sacrifice, and again, what we place value on, and the trust that we sometimes don't have in God, just seeing like how much more we need to trust God. But when I left, I felt like my heart was split in 2, and then during worship today, God was just telling me, your heart's not split in 2, it's just stretched that big that it hurts. He's like, but right now you feel like your heart is in 2 places, but he's like, it's in thousands of other places that you don't even know where it's at. And it's just loving across that. But the reason why it hurts is because it stretched so quickly, so big. And he's like, and it's going to do more stretching. And I said, this hurts. I don't want it to stretch anymore. But yeah, so I love Haiti. I love Lolo. I love this team. I love the children. I love the women. Like, I just love it. And I'm like, God, like, whatever you want me to do, like, I will do it. Like, it's not my bucket list checked off. I'm like, dang, this is now like life. Haiti is in my heart. It's home. Home is where your heart is, and my heart is in Haiti. So Haiti's home.
Okay, so before I share what impacted me, I just do want to just thank this team and brag on them. It was an awesome team, and the words that you guys spoke over us before we left about being family and about serving each other. Thank you for even planting those seeds and encouraging that, because it definitely happened. We bonded as a team. We had a night where we were having our team meeting, and one of our interpreters were there, and we were talking about things that surprised us about Haiti. And then at the end, we asked the interpreter, what surprises you about us? And he said, I really love the way you guys work as a team. It's evident. I can see it. I can see that you care about each other. And it was really good just to get that confirmation from someone who was looking from the outside into our team, and that they saw that. So I do want to thank this team and thank you guys. And just when in June, when Billy stepped down out of this trip, and it was like, someone needs to lead, I don't think I did not have any idea what I was getting myself into. I thought, well, I kind of led the last 2 years, so this will be easy. Oh my gosh. I totally have so much more respect for the things that Billy did in leading the previous teams. I understand why he had to go on scouting trips, because talking to people in Haiti over the phone when they don't speak very good English is hurtful. It's painful. And just the amount of responsibility, I understand, sometimes I look at Billy and he'd be kind of off and it would look like he was kind of disconnected. But there's so many things that you're looking out for, and that you're processing, and that you're making sure that people are in the right situation. So I want to just give a shout out to Billy for his leadership in the past. The biggest thing that God spoke to me, and this was probably, there's a lot to it, and I can't go into everything, but one of the overall themes there's two overall themes, but one of them was when we were on the plane from Chicago to Atlanta, and Lisa and Lindsay weren't with us. God was speaking to me about the fact that here I am, I'm in the air, there's no cell phone reception, you can't have your cell phone on, but I know that there are things going on the ground, that things are being worked out. I don't know exactly what they are right now, because I'm in the air, there's no reception, but I know that there's work going on the ground, that things are being put in place for them to get to Haiti, and that they're being put in place for a reason. And it was like God gave me that as a vision of that's how he works with us. We go through life, and there's things that he's working out for us that we can't even see, that we don't understand, because we don't have that heavenly mindset sometimes, or because his ways are so much greater than our ways. But he's working those things out, and when we land, they're already there, they're already set up, they're already waiting for us. About a year and a half ago, I started this big project at work, and the project has not gone anything like I thought, and it totally crushed any reliance that I had on a schedule and on how I thought things were going to go. And that totally prepared me for this trip, because there were so many things that I could not even have planned if I had tried, but that God took the schedule that we built and totally rearranged it and totally blessed us. And so I just want to give an example, because Lindsay and Lisa got left behind in Chicago, and part of me, I'm on the plane, I'm just thinking, God, I feel like a failure, like I've failed the first task, getting everyone to Haiti. This is not good. But he has a plan. And so Lisa and Lindsay ended up coming the day afterwards. And because they had to come in the day after the rest of us, Harold had to go to the airport in Port-au-Prince and meet them. And so because Harold was going to Port-au-Prince that day, we didn't have the 3 translators that we needed to do the schedule that we had planned. And so we had to change our schedule. So it was like, okay, well, we're all going to go to the construction site in the morning. We're all going to go to Lolo in the afternoon. And that was God, because on our schedule, part of us were going to go one way, part of us the other way, and there the two shall meet. And so we arrived at the construction site that morning, and there were just relationships that were formed between Errol's sister-in-laws and this group. And that was something that we had not planned, we could not foresee, that was a huge blessing for us. And because we went, we also had, in the afternoon, we all went to Lolo, where, Gary was able to be touched by those little kids, where before he was going to be totally, with the construction group. So there are things that God had in mind that we didn't have in mind. And because of the relationships that were formed, it led to, I think, one of the biggest blessings that I've ever had. And some of the team has alluded to it, but I just want to tell you guys this story because it was so, I don't even know what the word is. So at the construction site, we were helping to build Errol's brother-in-law's house. But all of his in-laws kind of live in that area. And so the first day we went, we kind of, formed relationships. We were speaking Creole, and they were speaking, we were trying to do this Creole English thing. We were helping them sort beans for their dinner. We were invited into their homes. And we just really got a chance to love them and to have them love us. And one of the girls there, her name is Lancy. And this girl is like love in motion. She's smiling. She's always dancing. When she hugs you, it's not like the Christian A-frame like this. She's all like, oh, I love you. I'm so happy to be. She gives you everything that she has. So, they were so open with us, so like loving. So yeah, come into my house. I don't have a lot. We've got 4 beds in a room that's a third of the size of the sanctuary, but come in, just make yourself at home, be welcome in our home. And Wednesday, they invited us after our dinner. This is our last night in Haiti. They invited us to their house. And so we went. We didn't know what to expect, but we come in, and they have us all sit down on their beds, and they have a keyboard set up and a microphone. And they say, we just want to show you guys how much we love you. This is a token of our love. And they start singing. They sing these songs, these little guys, they do a rap. They just tell us how much they love us. And then they say, we have a token for you. And they bring out these necklaces for everyone, these stones that they've carved, with their hands. And they say, this is not anywhere near what we feel for you, but we want you to have a token of our love. And, we're all crying and hugging and blah, blah, blah. And then they pull this, they have a table that's sitting in the middle of the room with a sheet over it. And they pull this sheet off. And there's a cake there, and there's these little cups that they have that they're for decoration. They're like these Cheeto things, and they have 2 bottles of Cola Corone, and they have a cooler, that had the ice cream in it. And we probably had, we each got like a half a cup of ice cream. We got this piece of cake, but they went all out. Like, if you guys have ever read the book, The 5 Love Languages, every single one of those they fulfilled. They sacrificially gave to us. They gave us of their time. They told us how much they loved and appreciated us. They hugged us and just loved on us. Like every way that they could show love, they showed us love, and we were so honored. They started singing happy birthday. They started saying, it's Alice's birthday on Monday, and we just want to let you know that we love you and that we appreciate you. And it was the best birthday party I've ever had in my entire life. But just the fact that if Lindsay and Lisa had not missed the plane, we probably wouldn't have been in that spot. God knew. Way better than we knew. And just the way that God formed this team together by having Wandy and Gary come, they were really linchpins of this trip. And I know that God had a specific purpose for each of them being there. And just the fact that, like, Wandy is from the Dominican Republic, had never been to Haiti, has this preconceived notion of who Haitians are and what they're like. And this is a chance for him to go and to really have those perceptions knocked down. And now he can go back and he can tell people that that's not what it's like. This is what it's like. And Gary, I'm just going for the construction. But to see him with those kids, throwing them up in the air on his leg, and, the kids just like rubbing his arm and looking at his hair. God is so good. And so that was really the biggest thing for me. And then the second part, and this is, I think, a challenge for all of us, is to live on purpose. And one of the things he challenged us the night that we had our team meeting, and Mary said, what does it look like to love with all of your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind? And we started talking about, like Stephanie said, the way we throw around the word love, and we love chicken nuggets, and we love this, and but that's not love. And we started talking about the fact that how many here have ever gone to Walmart, and in the parking lot you're like, God, please don't let me run into anybody I know. I just want to get in here and get out. I don't want to have to talk to anyone. And that's our mindset sometimes. And what does that say about our values? That says that we value time and that we value money, not that we value love and relationship. And so one of the things that God was really putting into our hearts was, to be purposeful about what you are cultivating in your life. Are you cultivating love and relationship, or are you just feeding the time machine or feeding the money machine? And so that's just, I think, a challenge for all of us, is to what does it look like when we're loving with all of our heart, all of our mind, all of our soul? And how do we make sure we do that? In Haiti, it's easy. That's our job. For a week, all we need to do is love people. And they're people who desperately want that love. How do I love people at 3M when they don't really care about love? They want a paycheck. They don't care. They don't want me to come up there and to hug them and to tell them that I care about them and I'm praying for them, and is there something that I can pray for you for? That's not what they're looking for. How do I love the way God wants me to love in those situations? And so that's just a challenge for, I think, each one of us. It's nice when you can go to Haiti and you can experience what that love is. And I do encourage all of you guys, if you're even thinking about going on a missions trip, it's not just any missions trip. I want to preface that. There's people who go to build a house, or they go to build a school. Well, once you build, that thing is done. But when you have a mission trip that's based on relationship and love, there are things that happen that are totally out of your control. There are connections and relationships that are formed between you and your team, between the people, that are just, you can't put into words. And I think that, Mel had a word about connectedness for this year. You cannot go to a place like Haiti, live with these people for a week, and not understand what it means when it says that God is love. And so, yeah, that's just my plug. I know I'm not biased at all, so. I know we're over our time. I just want Deb to share really quickly just our vision going forward for Haiti. And then, Deb, if you'll just close us out in prayer as well.
Okay. As we were over in Haiti, something that I had read before I went was something that Billy wrote, and it was called Palms Down. And I just saw it front and center when I was there. And when you go there, this is what they're doing. They're wanting and wanting things. And what I learned is that sometimes love is tough. We loved them with all our heart. And when we leave, we also have to teach them something. And so I think when we were there, we built those relationships. And when we left, the palms were down. They were giving to us. And so we did exactly the vision when we were there. And how we need to continue with that vision by helping them help themselves. We can give and give and give and give, but if they cannot provide for themselves, we're doing nothing. And so by working with this village, we are making a difference. We have now built that relationship, so now we can make the next step, and that is to help them live palms down, where they can provide for their families, but the only way we can do that is to get into their lives and to teach them how to, we got to get them a well. But once we get them a well, we have to teach them, stewardship. And Gary's had some fantastic ideas as far as some projects that we can work with them on. to learn to, Haiti pretty much just destroyed their soil. They just took and took and took and took, and now there's nothing left. And so the Dominican is very lush, but Haiti is not, and it's the same island. And so it's building it back up again, and how can we help them do that? To create mulch, to get the water and, make a marsh and to purify it and, and pick up their trash and just take care of the world that God has given them. So there's just many, many, many things that we still have to do in Haiti. And it's to help them help themselves so that it makes a difference. So that, and my vision was just, Lola was this beautiful, lush land, and then when the other people from Haiti see Lolo, they're like, wow, this is a little mountain village that had nothing, and now they have so much. And so they're going to be an example to all of Haiti as, we move forward with this. And so there's just a lot of projects that are in the works, of course, that are going to cost money. And so we have a lot of fundraising we need to all pull together and work together with that, and and just to build, as we build those relationships, to also have accountability on their end as well, to teach them business, to teach them how to take care of the money, and so that we can teach stewardship as well. So that's the vision, is palms down, and that's where we're going with all of this. So okay, now I'll end in prayer. And something that was interesting as we were doing the house-to-house prayer, I'm not a elaborate prayer. My prayer is not spectacular by any means, but it doesn't have to be. It's just sharing your heart. And so I'll just end in prayer that thank you, Lord Jesus, for your mighty hand, for the guidance you gave us in Haiti, Lord God. You pulled us together as a team. And we were a solid team, Lord, and we did your work. And you just guided us every step of the way, Lord God. And we thank you for your protection while we were there. Just some of the situations were just kind of scary, but you were there, Lord, and you just held our hand the entire way. And so we just thank you. We thank you for the vision. We thank you that we are going to work forward as a team, and our team is going to get bigger and stronger, and we're going to accomplish all of the plans that you have for Haiti and Lolo. So in the name of your son, Jesus, we pray. Amen.